Hello and welcome to Higher or Lower, the show brought to you by oddschecker, Sporting Index and SpreadX ahead of the new EFL season. This is your championship preview. I'm your host, George Elek, delighted to be joined by Dan Worth and Jack Wright. And we're going to be focusing on the championship player point spreads. I need to say playoffs there.
Not quite yet.
That's a long time away. A lot of football's going to happen before then.
A lot.
Could Reading get into the playoffs in League One?
Could. I don't know if will. Still a lot of questions to be answered first. Still a lot. 42 days left, 41 days left of the transfer.
Norwich get into it. Well, let's not go there.
We might come on to that later.
We might come on to it. We're going to go through 6 teams in the championship and their point spreads, so the total amount of points they get over the course of the season. Points deductions and the like do not apply, so it's purely the amount of points they pick up and say if we think the results will be higher or lower. I'm going to sit these out. I'm going to be hosting. I'm going to be talking to the guys about their decisions rather than putting up the bats myself, trying something a bit different here. And we're going to kick off with the title favourites, Ipswich Town. Last time they were in this league, they finished second, having just been promoted out of League One. This time around, they've come straight back down from the Premier League and 84.5 to sell, 86.5 to buy. Are we going higher or are we going lower? 3, 2, 1. Ooh, yes. Both of you going higher. Yeah. Jack, as a massive Norwich fan who has a soft spot for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, very soft.
Why do you think they're going to do okay this season?
I think they're worthy favourites to win the title. I've kind of broken this down as far as what do I think a top 2 side is going to need points-wise. I think they'll need 90, or will get 90. And top 6, you probably need 70 plus. To be safe, 50 plus. That's kind of my ballpark figures to then work out where I think these guys are going to end up. And I just think it's Ipswich are worthy favourites. Yeah, they lost their captain in Morsey. He wasn't getting any younger, and I think they obviously need to replace because that midfield area is a little bit light, having lost a few players. They've obviously lost Delap. Hurst has started pre-season well. I think he'll have his eyes set on being the new Delap. So we'll see how that goes. So they do need a little bit of a rebuild, but they've got an exceptionally strong championship side, packed full of decent quality championship players. Kind of their recruitment was based around when they got promoted from the championship last time round. Let's try and take the best players from those other clubs with us and keep hold of most of them to come back. They will lose a couple, admittedly, but the likes of Jack Clark was exceptional in the championship level. Should have a chance to excel this time round, and a few others as well. So I don't think they've been too burnt. I think they kind of expected to struggle in the Premier League. And for large parts of it, they were considered relatively competitive. It tailed off towards the end, but I think back in the championship, with Kieran McKenna, keeping hold of him is massive. I think they'll do well, and I think they will go 90 plus.
Yeah, I kind of think that the way that they maybe disappointed a bit in the Premier League's kind of benefited them because it means there's no speculation around Kieran McKenna. There's no speculation around Leif Davis, who definitely shouldn't be playing in the championship. Their wide options are a joke when you think of like Omari Hutchinson, he'll probably leave but might not leave. But then you've got Jaden Philogene, you've got Jack Clark, you've got Wes Burns. You've got players who've done it at this level before. What is it that makes you fancy them, Dan?
Well, I think whether or not you think they're going to win the league, this points total wouldn't have even got you third last season. So I think if you think they'll finish in the top 3, then you basically have to be a buyer, and I do think they finish in the top 3 for the reasons you guys suggested. I think keeping McKenna is obviously massive, but yeah, the squad is so decent at championship level, and with players that have already proven it, even though they couldn't quite do it in the Premier League, they'll be straight back to it in the championship. You would have thought 96 points when they went up in 23-24. I'm not necessarily suggesting they get that high, but I think that'd be closer to 96 than 86. So I think higher is the only option for me.
Yeah, surely some question marks around the strength of the league generally as well this season. Unlike the league that they got promoted out of a couple of seasons ago where they pipped Leeds to the post. Right, Southampton next up, another relegated team from the Premier League who've made a new manager appointment in the form of Will Still. We'll see how he gets on. He's obviously a manager still. He's a manager with a big reputation from his time in Liga, who I'm excited to see what his Saints team are all about, and they've made some eye-catching signings as well. 78 to sell, 80 to buy about Southampton, last seen in the Championship, winning the playoff final against Leeds under Russell Martin, but all changed there. Are you guys going higher or lower? 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just every team's going to go higher.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it, if that was the case? But
I think mathematically impossible.
Yeah, just about.
Unless the guys in the Spedix offices.
Well, maybe they're just bang on for everything.
Yeah. Well,
well, not quite.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's quite similar rationale. Like, I like the manager they've got in. I think the squad's decent enough. I can't actually see them finishing too far behind Ipswich. So again, if you look at 80, what was it? Wouldn't have even got you in the top 3. Same thing. So if I think they're going to come 3 or above, which I do.
3 or above.
3 or above, or
third or above.
Yeah, because it's not above 3, is it? That would suggest a very poor season. Inside the top 3, I think, for Southampton, so higher.
Jack?
Yeah, you framed it nicely. I think Will Still, I'm very much looking forward to seeing him. He's been touted to be coming to England for a while, and he's now finally here. He's obviously made a few appearances to kind of showcase himself a little bit on kind of high-profile shows, hasn't he? A friend of mine who I've worked with, who is very strong in League One, was a massive fan of him like 2 or 3 seasons ago, and it came to pass that he was obviously quite a pretty good judge about what he was going to bring to the table. So I want to see it now at Southampton. They were shockingly bad last season. I don't think they ever recovered from the fact that Russell Martin took the kind of Vincent Kompany approach to, this is how we play, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to make loads of mistakes on the way and get hammered. They've had a reset, and so I want to see Will Still, his style of football, and so they have brought in some decent talent. Not lost too much, I think, to worry about as well. So kept and retained plenty of talent that obviously were good enough a couple of seasons ago. Right off last season, I think they were written off from an early stage. I think it's kind of the opposite to Ipswich, but we'll still be at this point of time where we can go again here now, and I think they will. I think those two are clear of anyone else, so I think they will actually suck up a few more points than when we saw them shared around a little bit between the top 3 and 4 over the last couple of seasons. I think they will siphon off quite a few fair share themselves.
Third team we're going to look at, champions of League One with, I think, 111 points, was it in the end?
Big, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were good.
Is that a record?
They were good in the end. Birmingham City, who are a very different Birmingham City to the one we saw relegated out of this league a couple of seasons ago. What's funny?
Nothing's funny.
Okay. Chris Davis, their manager, winning the League One title in dominant fashion in his first season of club management, spending money as we'd expect them to. Kyogo, maybe the standout signing, former Celtic striker, coming in alongside Jay Stansfield, who of course they bought for quite lots of money last summer as well. Scored 19 goals, only 9 from open play. 73.5 to sell, 75.5 to buy about Birmingham. Can they do what Ipswich did and go back to back? 3, 2, 1.
No.
Hello.
No.
Guys.
No.
Why are Birmingham getting relegated, Dan?
I mean, that would be very nice, wouldn't it?
Would it?
Yeah.
Your words, not mine.
For the profit.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, I have nothing against Birmingham at all. I don't think you can massively read into that points tally from last season is the reason I was actually laughing slightly earlier, because I don't think they were as good as that points tally suggests, and I think we'll see that this season. League One wasn't the best quality last season, shall I say, and I think they probably got quite blessed with that, to be honest. They are the most backed team with oddschecker to win the league next season, which I guess would suggest how confident Birmingham fans are.
Yep.
Yeah.
I could not be anywhere near that. I think they're going to get a bit of a reality check, to be perfectly honest, when they get to the Championship. Obviously, the teams are going to be much stronger, and this just seems quite high to me. And I think it's because they've obviously spent a lot of money last year and this year, and did really well. And maybe as you said, the Ipswich B2B has sort of paved the way for them, but I don't think they've quite got it. So it's a lower for sure for me.
Jack?
Yeah, I said at the start that I think there's certain point totals that are going to be needed. I wouldn't be surprised to see Birmingham pushing for the playoffs, but that means a total of a 70-ish. Last season they kind of recruited above their level, so I think they recruited a kind of mid-table Championship kind of outfit. I think they're pretty much similar to that now, again, which would mean that there's going to be probably 15 points below this line as it's set if they do go down that route. I think their recruitment's been probably a little bit over-egged. It's not maybe as sensational as some people have suggested. I think there's a huge amount of confidence within the Birmingham group and their fan base, and large parts of the media as well, to a certain extent, that they're going to go in and just find this quite easy. And I think they will have a little bit of a reality check. And they've obviously got a very tough game to start with, so they could get a big reality check first up against Ipswich. It'll be a very interesting one, that. The sort of transfers they're talking about, there was a link I heard today that they've been linked with getting Mitrovic in from Saudi. That. So, it's strange. Look, going back to back, clearly not impossible. It's been done a few times over the last few seasons. But it's certainly not easy, regardless of your resource. I think taking the Championship lightly with some of these sides that are in there are going to be challenging for the top two, the top six. I think that's going to be a real struggle. So, look, unusually for a newly promoted side, I think the bar is set really high for where they're going to go. And I think they're going to fall short of that. So I'm happy to go lower on that basis, especially with an inexperienced manager still at this level, who will have pressure to deliver in the second tier, and that's a big ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Birmingham, it's one of those where it feels like if they hit their sell price, it's a pretty good job well done. Next up, Jack, it's your team, Norwich City. All change at Norwich. Liam Manning, the new manager. Borja Sainz has moved on to go to Porto. It looks like Josh Sargent likely to move on to go to Wolfsburg. But some eye-catching transfer business themselves. Matthias Kvistgaarden from Bromby, maybe the most eye-catching player with a good goal-scoring record over there in Denmark. 68.5 is the sell price. 70.5 is the buy price. All eyes on Jack. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, mate.
My goodness.
What?
You're going to get lower than 68.5 points.
Yeah, I think...
Manning going to get sacked at some point.
I don't think so, no. Obviously, you're a massive fan of Liam Manning. I think this is
I'd say massive is overrated.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Well, I think he's a very good manager, and I don't blame him as much as some Oxford fans for leaving us when he did. I think there are elements that he's got to iron out of his playing style, and I'd say his record with strikers is a concern. But he is very good. I mean, he gets results. So I am a fan.
I think it's a very good recruitment. I think you've got to say fair play to Ben Napper, who is the sporting director at Norwich, that he made some mistakes last season and he kind of held his hands up and admitted to those, namely being a very inexperienced manager, plunging him straight into the Championship with none of his own staff around him, for starters, which made it very, very tough. But there is lots and lots of positivity around the club. Fan base has really bought into the summer, the signings, the impressive transfer dealings. I think the fact that it was identified that there was a desperate need to improve that defensive record, which was shocking. It was a shambles last season. So 2 new centre-halves in, 3 new goalkeepers in. Could play them all at the same time, maybe. But I think Harry Darlan is a brilliant pickup. I think he's just the type of player proven at Championship level, oven ready, central defender to go in there and be a very good defender and also be a threat obviously at the other end as well. It'll be interesting to see. Madic has come in from Ajax with a decent pedigree. Didn't quite work out for him there. Was at Bochum last season, and again that probably wasn't the right fit for him. Got relegated there, but a very strong 6'4", tough, resilient, big defender who can be comfortable on the ball. So I think that's been identified. Very, very good. We talked about the other end of the pitch. That could be where the issues lie. The fact that Borja Sainz was such a great player for Norwich last season, scored 18 goals, only Pirro got more than him, and the fact that it was sold, normally it would cause a bit of uproar within the fan base. It was pretty much supported, really, to be fair, and certainly understood. And the fact that they then brought Kvistgaarden in as far as a replacement is concerned, who was being touted to be going to Champions League style clubs. I think they've sold the project at Norwich pretty well. But he's 23 years old. He did score goals at Bromby. The last time Norwich got a player from Bromby, it worked out quite well for them. So no pressure on him to follow that.
Who's that?
A guy called Pookie, Tommy Pookie.
Tom Pooks.
Yeah, so that was not bad. But 23-year-old, first time in the Championship, first time in England. So you've got to expect it's going to take a little bit of time to bed in. And same with a few of those players in those forward areas. So I think goals will be a lot less than last season, but I think they'll concede a lot less than last season as well. 70 points to challenge for the playoffs. I think certainly Norwich can challenge for the playoffs, but losing Sargent's goals, Sainz's goals, is how they replace. I think Kvistgaarden's been brought in to replace Sargent, ahead of that move happening. It's then what they do with the money for Sargent, and I think getting that left winger is going to be crucial to that. But good signings, positivity, I think progression. But you look, it was 57 points last season. This is a massive uptake to go on to that. 73 when they finished 6th. So that was possibly a bit of an overachievement. And like 62 the season before that, finished 13th. So the general consensus of where Norwich are at the moment, I think, is underneath here. Can get there, but at this moment in time, I'd say we might fall just short of that number.
Dan, you think he's wrong?
Yeah, I do. I think you get in the playoffs. And
I'll take it.
Quite simply put, if you get over 70 points, you probably will be in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think if you're winning this, we're in the playoffs, and I'll take it. I'll be wrong.
Yeah, it's a win-win for you here, isn't it?
I
mean, there's a little bit financially, but you'll be on your way to Wembley.
I know.
So, lovely. Yeah, you talked about how well you've recruited and then said it might not be a good season. So I'll just do the opposite. Say you've recruited really well. Might be a great season. Yeah, purely and simply playoffs for Norwich for me, so high.
Cool. 2 more teams. It's now the club closest to my heart, the other Yellows in the Championship. Oxford United finished 17th last season. Gary Rowett, as dependable a pair of hands as you're going to get. Last seen riding a lion around Indonesia. If you saw that.
No,
Did you not?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I haven't, no.
It went kind of semi-viral in Oxfordshire circles. It was a parade in our Indonesia tour, and he was held up on like a fake lion.
Gary Rowett.
Oh, that's
I didn't see that.
Should have been.
So well done.
That's not bad.
46.5 to sell, 48.5 to buy. Oxford fans getting quite twitchy about the lack of transfer activity, albeit 2 players that have come in, Brian de Keersmaker and Brodie Spencer, signed for quite a lot of money for the 2 of them, especially by Oxford standards. Oxford, higher or lower? 3, 2, 1. Yellows! Right. Don't care about that. Jack, why are we going to be okay?
They're playing yellow. Yeah. Happy days. It's the vibes.
So you just said lower for Norwich.
Yeah, well, you'd take underneath 68.5 points.
Yeah.
Just for Oxford. I thought you had a really good return to the second tier last season.
Thank you very much.
53 points.
Correct.
If you replicate that, then that's obviously got this line boxed off nicely. And you've already mentioned it. A key reason for that, Gary Rowett, a really safe pair of hands, a really solid, dependable manager, knows his way around the Championship, knows how to get results. And he did an excellent job coming in last season and making you quite comfortably safe. And I don't see a big drop-off this time around either. Certainly with some other clubs that are in a bit of turmoil underneath you, I think that you're in a more of a solid state. You've retained the services of some key personnel as well. I think you're going to add to it. I think very good defensively, generally tough to beat. Just need to add a little bit of goal threat, a little bit of firepower in those forward areas. As I said, the window is but young, so there's plenty of time for that to happen. I think do that, and I think you could then be mid-table safety pretty comfortable. But I certainly think with this line, this number, that number's effectively saying you're going down, and I don't think you're going down. So the XG and the attempts at goal were low last season. Tweak that, get a little bit of spike into that, and I think so you'll be comfortable. But I think there's certainly going to be 3 worse sides than Oxford, and therefore I think you'll be hitting the 50s relatively easily
in February.
Possibly so.
Do you want to bother?
I mean, I can do. I mean, I disagree.
Right.
I think Oxford are going down, and that is largely because of the strength of the promoted sides. I think Birmingham and Wrexham will both finish above Oxford. I wouldn't mind backing that Charlton do too, although maybe not enough to stay up. But I think by default that puts you to right down there with the teams that managed to stay up last season. And I think this is your time.
What about the other teams?
Which other teams?
What about Preston and Portsmouth and Hull and QPR and Blackburn and Derby and Stoke?
Yeah, but mate, they'll all be down there fighting with you, I'm sure. But yeah, you'll be the one that goes down.
We'll be the one that goes down.
Just the only one. We'll change the rules.
So interestingly, since you sent over the running order, we've actually gone up one.
Perfect.
Betting, so markets going against you, and I think basically anyone with a brain probably is too. No, I'm joking.
I know how to get the host on side.
I wouldn't say I'm overly bullish. Hopeful rather than anything else. But I do think de Keersmaker could be a name to keep your eyes on over the course of the season. I think he might be quite good. finally, Sheffield Wednesday now, who are 45.5 to sell, 47.5 to buy. Now, this is obviously due to the ongoing turmoil at the club. Defjon Chansiri, their owner, still hasn't sold the club. Seemingly there was some movement in that case over the last couple of weeks, but it's now very, very quiet. And we've seen Josh Windass walk away, we've seen Michael Smith walk away, we've seen Anthony Masaba and Gassama both sold for kind of cut price fees. The likes of Barry Bannon have no idea what's going on next season. Danny Roll looked like he was on his way out, but now he's back in. They weren't even pre-season training to start the season. They're under a transfer embargo. It is an absolute mess, and it's sad to see. And as such, a team that finished kind of mid-table last season now priced up for favourites for the drop, favourites relegation. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously developing at the moment, and I guess we can hope that Sheffield Wednesday will have a new owner relatively soon, and this can all be forgotten. But right now, it's pretty perilous. So 45.5 to buy, 45.5 to sell, 47.5 to buy, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, bleak.
Yeah.
Chat.
Some way to end the show.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And it's not a laughing matter, really, is it? It's really, really sad. Obviously, you've been in a similar situation with your club that when this happens, but the words I put at the start, you've already said, just a mess, really. And the embargo, the owner, who seems set to destroy and kill the club, manager sort of tried to get out and then couldn't and sort of come back, and now has got to try and get the players back on side again. I didn't really want to go, but as you said, the training situation, everything there, players walking away, so many question marks about it. Generally speaking, if you've got chaos, you've got bad ownership, you've got money issues, that usually leads to relegation, whichever league you're in, and Sheffield Wednesday tick all those boxes, unfortunately for them. So it has to be lower. Like, you can't see anything other way around it at the time of recording. My caveat to it is that I wouldn't play it personally, because this all could change with a couple of swift movements, and then things would look totally different with the size of the club and the possibilities that it has. But as we sit here right now, I can't see any other end than them finishing bottom of the table with a bleak points total and therefore lower. Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, I guess a slight positive is that points deductions won't count here. So if they are hampered with that, if they're performing well on the pitch, it won't bring this total down. Yeah, as you said, I feel like I've lived this dream, and it's
not a dream.
It's not a dream. It's a nightmare. But yeah, I can't really see anything other than them going down like we did in a similar situation. And at the point that they're in, it feels like a really, really, really long way back. So probably maybe should have put these a little bit higher up so we don't finish all nearly in tears. But yeah, very sad.
Yeah, fingers crossed we're all wrong, and hopefully news at the club soon means that that points quote will fly up and the embargo can be lifted and everything else good that can happen. Fingers crossed. On that front, there we have it. That is our championship preview. Thank you to Dan and to Jack for taking the time to share their tips, thoughts and insight. We've already done a Premier League points preview and a player goals preview in the Premier League too, so make sure you do go and check those out. But in the meantime, we'll be back every week over the course of the season, apart from international breaks. So we look forward to seeing you there on Higher or Lower. Make sure you sign up for a SpreadX or a Sporting X account if you haven't already done so. There is a link in the show description. Click on that, and there's a new customer offer there. So check that out whenever you possibly can. Great stuff. Loads of different markets across different sports up on SpreadX and Sporting Index. But do read up on the risks of spread betting, and remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit. Oddschecker have you covered for all fixed odds betting needs, so check them out for best prices, bookie offers, free bets and tipsters up on there, and whoscored.com have all the stats to inform your football betting. We're nearly there. The season's nearly started. We look forward to chatting to you weekly on Higher or Lower. We'll see you in the next episode, but in the meantime, please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.